Evening, folks. Evening, Steelers. Should I say? How are we all doing out there? I can see a few people already in chat. Jonas, your message has disappeared, but I did see it before. That yes, it was. I only set it up yesterday. I wasn't actually streaming yesterday. Dex, there's early and then there's early. Absolutely. John Clarkey, hello. Barnes, evening, and Louis Baby, how are you doing? Good to see you all out there. Hit that like button. You know what it's like. I'll keep saying it until you do it. How is everybody tonight? What are you all working on is the big question. As you can see, this evening my tabletop is empty. But because tonight what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a little bit of preparation. Evening, Dom. How are you doing? I hope you recovered from the weekend. It looked like you had a good time. I'm going to do a little bit of preparation because I started working on those 1600 Bag the Hun aircraft. So basically that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be sorting out some of the stands that I've got here. Cutting toenails. Nice. Charles, evening. Good to have you on morning. Late morning, hello. Evening, Terry. Good to have you on board. So I've got a load of flight stands. Tons of them, in fact. I've got a ton of aircraft. So what I want to do is, because I asked Paul to do me one flight stand per aircraft. Evening, John. What I want to do is I want to separate the flight stands into their bags so I can put them with the aeroplanes, so I know what's what. Yeah, recovering. I'll bet. So that's the thing. You should have called up, Dom. I'm only an hour north of Nottingham. You should have called up and we could have had a game on Sunday. But never mind. Next time you're up here. So I got a ton of these things. These are the 3D printed aircraft Paul who sabotaged it for me. I've not actually. What I did the other day is I've gone through and I've worked out all the names of the different Japanese aircraft and stuff that I've got here. There's tons of them. Painting 28mm Romano British. Good evening all. A little more people on here now. Good stuff. Painting Epic Confederates. Excellent. 18 people watching. 8 likes. Make that change. Hit that like button. Nothing on the painting table. I'm waiting for salute. I've got tons on the painting table here, but I am waiting for salute as well. The next time, mate. Yeah, do. I could have taken you through chain of command. Terry, I'll probably see you at salute. Come and say hello. I'll be with Joe Bilton on the big chain of command game in the large zone. For the morning at least. Otherwise I'll be wondering about doing some filming in the afternoon. That's the plan at least. I'm going to Nottingham tomorrow, actually. Speaking of Nottingham, I'm going to be there for a conference for the next few days, which is unfortunately why I can't play a game with you, Dex, this week. So I've got a load of stuff. I've got I'll go through what I've got because I don't think I've mentioned it really before. So I've got these KI-43 Oscars. I've also Evening Steve. What we got here? We've got Hurricanes, but these are the tropical Hurricanes. These were sent out from. I think these were mainly being shipped out to the Middle East and then they got diverted, sent out to Malaya. So I'm going to do these in the desert scheme, so that lighter brown than the typical Hurricanes. So that's going to be interesting. KI-27 Kates, KI-48 Lilies. What we got here? Zeros. Even though these didn't actually fly over Malaya, these were later. I don't care because you can't have Imperial Japanese aircraft without zeros in them. But it looks like there's a Hurricane in there somewhere. Right, looks of it. So I said I wanted some. Yeah, there's a Hurricane. I wanted some zeros just to, for what ifs. And the other thing is as well. Remember, I haven't had much time to paint today as my what can is. Yes, I see. Everybody else seems to be getting it at the moment. I'm picking mine up on Saturday, Steve. I did actually pay for postage and then told Rich I'll go and pick it up on Saturday. I shouldn't have done really. I would have got mine as well. But I wouldn't have enough time to put a video together even if I got it today because I'm going to be busy for the next few days. But I have actually got some 15mm Cowboys. I painted 6 up already. So I'm wanting to get some of those done. And I'm going to be doing, I'll probably do a video at some point, so I'm fairly sure. Oh yeah, Blenheims. No, yes, Blenheims, not Beaufighters. For some reason I thought these were Beaufighters. They're not, they're Blenheims. So they're nice. You got mail from England today, so now I'm building resin metal armoured cars from Warlord Games. Good stuff. I got some KI-15s, Babs. Oh yeah, that was it. I was saying that the Zeros, they will not be painted white because the Japanese aircraft weren't painted white. They were painted like a quite a light caramelly colour. KI-51 Sonyas, those as well. Evening decks, you've already said evening. Buffaloes, Brewster Buffaloes, excellent stuff. Love those little bad boys. What else we got here? We got KI-21 Sallies. We got G3M2 Nels over here, and then we've also got some G4M1 Bettys. I've also done some G4M2 Bettys as well. You're painting some AK-47 figures, good stuff. As I say, so I've got tons and tons of each of these, but I should have in here enough bases for each one of these aircraft to be numbered up. So and I've also got some lengths of wire as well, which I basically snip off 2 inches high, and then they fit directly into the holes of the bases and also into the holes underneath the aircraft. What I'm going to do once I've got all this lot painted, at some point in the future, I think I'll go back to Paul and I'll get a load of Battle of Britain stuff done as well in 1/600, and then you know I'll probably never need to buy another aeroplane again. Well, probably will, but you know what it's like. So I want to do the KI-43s next, actually, because I like the Oscars. They're nice. Barnes says you've been grinding IKEA and moving stuff, pain in the arse. Yeah, yes it is. Well, some of that might be happening to me at some point soon, but the less said about that at the moment, the better, but we never know. Right, so like I say, what I need to do is basically find out how many aircraft I've got of each of these, find out the numbered bases, and then I guess a 0 was a sugar-free caramel colour then. Yes, it was. Definitely was. Right. Well, I've got 1,000 zeros by the looks of things. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the content you're here for. Me counting zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good God, how many did he do for me? He did say he'd done loads. So I think I can't remember how many, how high up the numbers go. I think I said 12 maximum for each of these. So yeah, there's 1,000,000 zeros in there. There's 12 there. So that's another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in there. So that's 22 zeros. There's more zeros than over Pearl Harbor. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out the 1 to 12s, and I'm going to put those together into these boxes. Sorry, not K. These are not zeros. These are the KI. These are the Oscars. Duh. 0, 0, zeros. You could add in Gary Newman's 0, repainted Harvard Texan as it was, or repainted Harvard Texan as it was. I don't get you, Dex. I know Gary Newman was. I don't get you. You have to explain it to me. Probably going to cop grief for admitting this, but I'm building Ultramarine snipers. Whatever floats your boat, it doesn't matter. It's a hobby. You can do it any way you want, even though there are right ways and wrong ways. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So there's a 12 of them that I want. And as I said, I'm just going to get... I've definitely got 12 there. So 22 of those. This is going to be a big game of Bag the Hun. Evening, Richard. Good to have you on board. Like counting in binary, 1s and 0s. But yeah, these are really, really nice. These are the ones that were that Jim Muir did. I think over on the Discord, the Lardy's Discord, we goaded him into doing a load of Malaya stuff, and then he sent it all over to Paul at Sabotaged and said Paul, he was happy for Paul to print stuff. So I asked Paul to print it for me, and very happy with it I am. Gary Newman had a pilot, and his plane was a Harvard in 0 paint scheme. Ah, right. What was it? Playtesting 2 Reaver scenarios, Deadpool and Skirmish at the Ford. Good stuff. Good stuff. Right, so I've got 1, 2, 3. I need 4. These seem to be the ones and the twos and the threes. Well, could I just sort these out at the moment? I was going to try to put some of this stuff together, but I don't think I'll get a chance to. So, who else is going down to Salute at the weekend then? Who else will be there? Can't find a 4. There's a 4. Dom, if they did 15 mil ultramarines, Alex would probably do them too. No, I wouldn't. Yeah, I'd play Xenos Rampant with them, like everybody seems to be doing with their 40k figures. Right, that's 1 to 6 anyway in there at least. Well, at least if I can separate that into the 1s and the 6s, I'm going to do that, and then I can just drop those straight into the bags, because everything, well, there's at least 1 to 6 aeroplanes in each of those bags. In some cases, thousands by the looks of it. So yes, not so much a paint, but more of a sort and chat tonight. Dex, are you down the club? Zero is permanently based at North Weald Aerodrome. Okay. Evening, Greg. Jekyll, good. You'll be there. And Dom, good. You'll be there as well. So yeah, do come along. Like I say, I'm going to be in the Lardy zone with a big Chain of Command game in the morning. So come along and have a game of Chain of Command with Joe and myself. And then I'll be wandering around in the afternoon. So if you do see me, say hello there as well. It'll be good to see folk. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to the getting up at shit o'clock in the morning. Oh, there goes monetisation. I've got to get my train is at, I think, 6:30. I don't get down till 9:30, so it's quite a long old long run. Dex is there on Thursday. Yeah, unfortunately I can't make it this week, Dex. I did tell you that, didn't I think? Richard says, Salute a bit too far from Glasgow. Trying to move house too. Might make parties on. Oh, good. Well, if you got a parties on, I might see you there. Hopefully see you there, Richard. Be good too. Hope you're moving somewhere nice. I always hate moving. That is a pain in the ass. Peter, as they say. So, 23 watching, 14 likes. Hit that like button, folks, if you like it. Or hit the dislike button. Either or. Doesn't really matter. It's all algorithm juice, isn't it? So look, 4, 5. So I'm a bit tired today because I've been running up and down the country as well. I went up to Warcop, training area at Warcop. I was up there for the morning, and then I ran down to Catterick for the afternoon, and then came back home and didn't get back till about 5 o'clock. A day on the road. But the good thing about that is it means you get to listen to a lot of podcasts. So I've been listening to podcasts on the whilst on that road. We'll be folding and intending to buy a cowboy and a load of AWI figures. I've already got mine. Like I said earlier on, I'm just gonna be picking it up on Saturday, and the Wild West Town from Sarissa Precision as well. I think I said something about that. Evening, Stephen. Yeah, I bought a Sarissa Wild West Town in 15mm for to save the £5 postage. I thought I'll pick it up at Salute, so I've just paid £110 for the train fare instead. Figure that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm going to put these into orders, into piles now. So I've got each one of these numbered. This is just the easiest way to do it, really. For the aircraft, that is. How do Pierre? This is Pierre, isn't it? Can I remember? Piet? I can't remember how you pronounce your name. Sorry, buddy. I would like to rage. That'll do. If you want to see some good cowboy towns, check his stuff out. It's fantastic. And his apps as well for playing Chain of Command for the command for the patrol phase. I use that quite a lot. Moving to Birmingham. Venice meets Sheffield. My wife is from Birmingham, so we go down there quite a bit to go and see her sister. Salute way too far from you, though chances are getting better for CrackCon. Excellent. Wife is up with me seeing my folks in Brid, mid-October, so Derby might be on the cards. Stop on the way to Heathrow, excellent, that's right. PY is fine, good stuff. Here's buddy. Right, so as I said, that's 1s to 6s there. I've still got a ton more in here, so I'm not too worried if I don't do them all. So let's give some out to these British ones. The thing is, I need some 1/600 scale British decals, and I know they do them over in America. I'm kind of trying to avoid the big cost of getting these things shipped over. I've done it before. You end up, you think you end up. I'll need a big backpack for all the stuff. It's 15mm, Dom. It's a book and 4 A4 sheets. That's it. It sounds like a lot, but it isn't. Evening, Sim. See, that's why I do 15mm, so I don't have to lug a load of stuff around. So yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought. It'll come back. Whatever it was, must have been a lie. But yes, where are we at? Yeah, there's not many zeros. Maybe some of the Oscars are zeros. I'll have to check them again. I'll have to double check. Maybe they got they got a few thrown in because it won 600. Oh yeah, that was it. I was talking about the decals. I'm trying to find some. The only person that does them in the UK is Nick Evening. Is Dom's Decals, but Dom's Decals hasn't been operating for a long time now, which is a real shame because he's literally 7 miles away from me. And it would make things a hell of a lot easier. Travel to the US to save on postage. That's a really good idea. It's a really, really good idea. Yeah, so I'll put that in the list of good ideas over here somewhere. And I'll try making it on decals. Paper is £1 A4 sheet or so. I haven't, but my mate has. He's done it. How many decals do you need? I have a bunch of roundels in 1/600. Quite a few, because I've got quite a lot of Hurricanes and both. Is it both Blenheims? The Blenheims or bow fighters, whichever one it is. I can't remember. I think they're bow fighters. No, they're not. They're Blenheims in Malaya, and Buffaloes as well. And I've got loads of them. I've not counted them up yet. You should be at salute. Good stuff. Get an American friend to source them. Yeah, but I've still got to. The problem is you've still got to pay for the postage over here anyway. So it's not really that. It's a Hex Base Palooza. It seems it is, Jim. Yeah, it's because if I bought a, well, that said, I bought a load from one of the. There's a couple of really good deco places in America. I bought some and they came really quickly and they were dead cheap as well. So I might just go back to them and get them. I was going to say, drop me a note, Alex, see what I can do. Okay, John, I will do. I'll send you a message. Well, it's just because they're relatively cheap. But you can always fear it being a hell of a lot of expense from America. But it sometimes doesn't turn out like that, which is quite nice. I'll have a look, but I'll send you a message, guys. Redecals, try Misk Miniatures in Virginia. He sends in an envelope for a cost of a stamp. I may have got some. I had some of his before then, Terry. Because I know that you should be the cost of a stamp to send them to you. There you go. That'll be the same then. Okay, Misk Miniatures. I'll check him out. There's the other one, Flight Deck Decals, isn't there? He's another one who does a lot of really nice ones. Really nice. Because I've got loads of there. One of them for the First World War stuff. I've got tons of them. Because I just thought, well, you know, rather than buying a few and then needing more and having to go back, I'll just get loads at once. So I've got loads and loads of First World War aircraft decals, which I'll never use. So I've painted all the more aeroplanes than there were actually in the First World War at this point, and I don't think I'm going to be doing any more. That said, though, Paul over at Sabotage does have Jim's files, so I could always get a few more. We'll see. They're addictive. But I'm going to. I've got a few Second World War 1/300 scale stuff. So I'm actually gonna sell those on eBay at some point when I get around to it, because I'm not going to do the Second World War stuff in 1/300th anymore. It's just slightly too big for my hex bases anyway. I think it should not cost more than a stamp. Decals are pretty light, so it might be worth having a search. Yeah, I'd like to say I've bought some in the past, and they came quick and they were cheap. I'm just got this little fear, that's all. But I need to sit down and actually work out, excuse me, exactly what I need, because I don't even know at the moment which type of decal it is that I need for the for Malaya. I can't remember which ones they were using. You got the flight deck decals ones. You charged me $4.25 for shipping. Okay, yeah, if I can afford $4.25, to be honest. That's to Canada though, isn't it? PY. All right. Right, that's 2, 3, 4. That's a 7, not a 1. 2, 4, 5. So there must be a Rogue One kicking about somewhere. A Rogue One. We'll doubtless visit the Vlad Zone. Good stuff. Come and say hello. Hit that like button, folks, as well. Anybody new who's turned up into the chat, say hello. Tell us what you're painting, what you're up to. But yeah, I'm wanting to get back into Bag the Hun, because I've not. Yeah, I thought you were. Dom, looks like you had a good weekend. I want to get back into Bag the Hun because it's such a good game, and I've not really played it for ages. Played a lot more Algae than Bag the Hun. Algae's great, but Bag the Hun is kind of like the upscale version of it, really. Right, so. Oh look, I've got loads of those then, that's loads enough. Because what I'll probably do is I'll probably just paint 6 of each aircraft first of all. And that should be enough. Immediately. And then I can do the rest when I need to. So let me just check that these have all got... I've still got tons more there. More than I'll ever need. Yeah, I was going to do... What was I going to do? I was going to do the Oscars, wasn't I? No, I don't want to do the Oscars because I need to... same here. Not going to get back to it. Yeah. My old man was in the Far East with RAF. Worked on RAF B-24s. Excellent. I didn't want to do Hurricanes. I want to do the stuff that I've got the decals for, which is basically the Japanese stuff. I've got a load of 1/300th scale British decals, but I don't really want to. I want to use the ones that are right size for them. Yorkshire says he's painting 28mm French Foreign Legion for Maximilian Adventure. Good stuff. Right, so I'll bang them together, so at least I've partially sorted out some of these. I should put them into, sort the rest out as well, and then pile them into bags, separate bags. I'll do that another time. You come here for a paint and chat, not for a sort and... Well, there's a load of 5s and 1s and stuff in there, so I'm going to stick them in here. Bag the Hun's bigger version of Algae, cock based on Under the Mud and Blood. I'm getting this here from Hardy Rich. Well, actually, Bag the Hun, the original version of it, the Bag the Hun that is currently available is, as far as I'm aware, the second version of it. So like Sharp Practice 2. Bag the Hun is actually Bag the Hun 2, and Algae is actually based on the original Bag the Hun 1. But yes, Chain of Command is... it has the DNA of Through the Mud and the Blood, rather than based on, I think, is probably what Rich would say. More than anything else. Oops, there goes the bag. Now I've got rods everywhere. I was saying the Maximilian Adventure sounds like a period bank caper. Just doesn't it? Let's have a look. I'm getting 3 out of each of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So I got these off eBay. I was directed to these by Paul from Sabotaged. And the ones that he uses, they're just really thin wires, and they fit perfectly into the bases of the aircraft. So these, you have the original still. Yeah, it's probably, I think, looking at how Algae works, I think Bag the Hun 1 is probably it was probably quite clunky, I guess. Sort and talk. I think it's quite, because you can kind of see it's a little bit in algae, but algae has obviously been is a bit of a slightly downgraded version of it, I think, because of the aircraft and the fact that they the aeroplanes aren't as advanced as they are in the Second World War, of course. Right, so these are 6-inch rods basically, so I'm cutting them down to, you're painting stone walls, excellent. So I'm cutting down to about 2-inch. It doesn't have to be perfect because they're flying, so they're all at different heights anyway. If only I can see where 2 inches. There it is. And then this is where I knacker up the clippers that I've got and use some old ones. It's bloody tough stuff. Oh, don't know if you can see. It actually helps if I clip it on the bit that is the actual clipper. Oh, there we go. This is the hard parts of this build, because I was using the originally the see-through hexes, but I changed and I just thought, well, Paul can print them for me, can't he? And that means I don't have to mess about with magnets and things. And I asked him if he'd be able to make holes in the bottom of the planes for magnets, and he said he probably wouldn't because they'd be too big and they wouldn't be structurally sound. So he suggested doing this, so that's where we got to. Yorkshire says, lol John, essentially it was trying to colonise Mexico in the 1860s, British French intervention after the Mexican Revolution. You tried check your 6 but wasn't keen. I've never played it, Stephen. What didn't you like about it? Tell us that. I mean, I've seen it around everywhere, obviously, but yeah, I've never played it myself. Sorry, a silent moment while I break my way through these really, really hard rods. You receive your second batch of Pendragon 10mm World War I stuff the other day. Should cover me for about 2 platoons. Aside for Through the Mud and Blood plus some fun supports and object. Yeah, to be honest, I've played the game obviously quite a lot at this point, and more than 2 platoons and the game kind of breaks. Evening Paul, painting the 44th foot for the first Afghan war. Excellent. Yeah, the game kind of collapses under its own weight after about 2 platoons. I would say that's enough, and then just a few supports and things. Up to that point, it can cope okay-ish, and that's all to be honest, that's all you'd ever need anyway, really, in the 2 platoons. Right, okay, so we got all these. This is we've got the Babs here, the KI-15s. So I'm making sure I'm going to. What I'm doing is I've got a little bit of super glue. Very simple job. Insert into the base hole, and then the aeroplane will go on top. Done. Much easier than messing about with the magnets that I was doing before. What I do need to do is just make the hole in the aeroplane just slightly bigger. And I'll do that with a knife in a second. Once I've got all these in place. I was covered in super glue doing this yesterday. That's probably what'll happen tonight. Or perhaps I need to make the hole slightly bigger. Get the old knife out. Oh, 33 of you watching. It's a good night tonight. It's obviously because the plastic crack podcast went and broadcasting last night. I always get an influx of numbers when those guys go off offline. So if you're still watching, Dom, I think you should go offline more often, please. It gives me a boost. No, I'm only joking. It was missed last night, to be honest. I had to watch something else on YouTube. I'm just going to make these holes ever so slightly bigger because there's not a lot of room for manoeuvre with these wires. But there's so much detail on these aircraft. Jim went mad. He's done a really good job of them. Are you going to paint the wires, Alex? Natural grey sky? Yes, I've already done it on the Bettys that I've already done. The green Bettys, Bombalon. I just painted it in a sky blue. I was thinking about what to do with the bases. I've just painted them in an olive drab because that matches the hexes I've got. 2, 4, there's another 5 there. And I thought about flocking them, but I thought that's just probably just going to look a bit weird, to be honest. So I've just left them just as a flat painted base rather than anything else. When is the money in the post, Alex? It's on its way. So yeah, I've got sky blue, which I've just used for the underside of British aircraft and for some German aircraft as well. So I've just used that to kind of disguise the wires a little bit. So the thing is, even with see-through wires, you can still see the see-through stands. You can still see the thing anyway. It just looks slightly different. But we'll have to have a game of it at some point down the club, Dex. I'll bring it down. Because the good thing about Bag the Hun is you don't really need to carry a lot of stuff. Just some small aeroplanes. Money's always in the post, the delivery's in the delay, absolutely. Just brought the entire Japanese Air Force. This was with some other money that I had. Anyway, the Japanese Navy Air Force. There we go. Get those in there. So I put these spare 5 babs back in their bag. And the other thing I was doing as well, catch up with this, Alex, but I'm only working Tuesday night. Well, it's good to have you. I'm glad you're not working tonight, Tim. I'm glad you're with us. Can't remember, Tim, did you say you're going to be at Salute? Can't remember what you said. There's a KI-15. The good thing about these is, as well, you can also write on them what they are. So I remember, because I can never remember what the Japanese planes are. So KI-15. And then when anybody asks you, beg your pardon, IJN, there you go. We're historically correct around here, John, I'll have you know. KI-15. What did you say, Dex? Who's interested in the choice? Some fireflies in Normandy had the end of their 17-pounders painted to allegedly camouflage the gun and make them stand out from other. I'm not sure what you're referring to there. Dex, about fireflies? Remind me. I have a short-term memory loss. I have been thinking about making some proper labels, and the good thing about these is, I don't know if you can see, but Paul's actually left a little hole in them as well, so I can drop a small rare earth magnet into each of these, and then if I get some neutral grey colour, yes, if I get some magnetic paper, sheets of paper, I can put them on the bottom of the really useful box, and then it'll just hold them in place. What do you say? Yes, you got your ticket. A parking sort just needs to sell your kidney for the petrol. I know, God, it's so expensive, isn't it? Well, I'm on the train for 3 hours to get down there, so that's going to be fun. I'm going to take a book or two. However, Panzer Force from Italy in late 43 that painted their long 75s grey to look like short 75. We don't know if it was because the gun is the first thing through a hedge. Most likely, yeah. Yeah, sorry, I see what you're talking about, Dex, now. Where you gone by to? You just painted your Firefly with the odd white pattern. It's meant to disguise the length and make it look like short 75. Yeah, well, you know, whatever works, really, isn't it? To stop the enemy identifying you. Those big old dummy tanks that they used to have as well. Blow up ones. Right, there we go, that's our first KI-15. These will be good fun against some buffaloes, or get mashed up by some hurricanes. But these are real easy to paint. I mean, I've just been block colouring them and then just give them a very slight wash of a watered down Nuln oil, and that's pretty much it. And then just paint the cockpits and canopies and stuff in a bluish colour to show that they are reflecting the light, and then just give that a wash again in Nuln oil. Dead easy. And they look good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do these 6, and these are the next things I'm going to paint, I think. But then next up is some cowboys. I'm going to do another bunch of cowboys. I've already done 6, so I'll drag a few more out. So then all I need to do is make the houses when I've got them on Saturday. What do you say? Sherman's in Normandy, some interesting favourite events. I'll mention it on Saturday. Okay, seems to be the accepted reason. Yeah, were Japanese lanes were Japanese planes any good? Is somewhat I know notes about. Some were. Depends what they were fighting. Zeros were good. You know, they lasted throughout the war in production. They were pretty good. Some of the early stuff. Got to remember what they were fighting against early on. They were up against stuff like the Buffaloes, which were good for their time. They just weren't very good in later. What's the problem? And yeah, so it's a bit of a mixed question, really. Some of them were, some of them weren't. Like these ones here, the KI-15s, they've got fixed undercarriages, which obviously is very much a 1930s design, and are pretty much ceased to be by the 40s. But they were, you know, carrier aircraft, so that's what they're using them for. Don't mention petrol. We had 25-inch of rain in Fort Lauderdale in one day last week. Disrupted supplies across South Florida. Spent 90 minutes in a queue as we were running on empty. Oh dear. Oh, petrol roulette. It's never fun. Right, so I want a good few of these fellas. Let's have some double fisters. There's some. These are nice and easy to paint as well. I'm doing these in 15mm simply because I've already got tons and tons of 15mm stuff, you know, scenery and things like that. So I don't see the point in reinventing the wheel. And if I enjoy the game a lot, I might switch to 28mm, but there's no promises on that. Right, just want to do those. I got 30 of these. These come from Blue Moon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 4, 6. I'll do 7 of them. Why not? These are from Blue Moon. 16 quid, 30 figures. Job done. You'll never need another cowboy again. I've already done 6, which is probably more than enough for what a cowboy at this point. But just want to add a few more, and then I realised that Peter Pig also do cowboys as well, and if I'd known that I would have bought them from there immediately. It is what it is. You live and learn. Well, I live, whether I learn or not, it's a different matter, isn't it? Japanese planes at the start of the war were amongst the best. However, by mid-war, the lack of armour and development of American planes led them to be outclassed. Yeah, I mean that's the thing, isn't it? 1941 is very, very different to 1945, and also the industrial powerhouse that America became by the end of the war. The Japanese output just wouldn't be able to put to stand up against it. So yeah, I mean they were good early on, but then that's because they were against stuff that, you know, when you've got a 20-year gap in a war, there's not much point in you developing your aircraft. 4 Cowboys is the side of the sweet pot. Yeah, you played a lot of it, haven't you? Why, you've play tested it, I'm assuming. So yeah, I've already got 6, so I'll do a few more because these have got different weapons like rifles and shotguns and things. And it's always nice to actually have the weapon that the figure is supposed to got on them. That's what I figure. Well, that's a bit of a mucky one, that one. I have some of the Blue Moon sci-fi. They're a couple of mil bigger than Peter Pig, hard to field together. Well, you know, people are different sizes. That's assuming you're only 2 players. So you'd say like 4 figures a side, no matter how many players you got, or does it scale well? We broke the campaign early on. Too many characters to manage. Well, that's the point of playtesting, isn't it? Get to the point of where you break it, because otherwise it goes out to print and then somebody else breaks it. Yeah, I'm definitely getting a bit of FOMO at the moment because everybody else has suddenly got theirs. But as I say, I probably would have done a quick look through video, but I just haven't got time anyway. 8 figures on the table. Was that too many? 8? Or was that enough? There we are. Yeah, the thing with Blue Moon is they do some nice ranges, but the figures aren't always great, and they're not particularly well cast either. Always a bit of a mess. So I might turn to Peter Pig at least anyway, because you've got better casting. It'd be nice if somebody did 15mm plastics, but that's never going to happen, is it? 2, 4, 6, 7. 2, 4, 6, 7. So I'm going to do these now. I'm going to put the polyfiller on them, and then that's going to be them set up and ready to go. If anyone sees a 28mm pewter gas rear axle in England, it's probably mine, now replaced with a bamboo skewer. I saw one the other day. 8 figures between all players is good. Okay, how do, Gary? Good to have you on board. How's things? Hope you're well. I've not seen you for a while. Right. Let's get these little fellas sorted out. As I said, what I'll do is I'll put the polyfiller on the bases, and then that's them ready and they can be waiting. The good thing about 15mm is it never takes very long, but I don't really like painting civilians and stuff because I like to batch paint. I can never think about what colours to paint people. The different clothes and stuff like that. That's why I like uniforms, because you just go right, green, brown, other green, brown, different brown. It's easy. Painting some pigs for a pigsty at Lutz and Partisan. Good stuff. Excellent. Always need some pigs. Table's not a table without pigs. Well, that's them. They're ready. I don't know if 15mm is too small for what cowboy, but I'm going to try it out. As I say, it's a bit of a test for whether I like the rules, which I'm sure I will. So I like water tanker, and what I've seen of it looks like fun. And despite what they say, I do like cowboy films. Where is it? There it is. Looking for me a flat-headed screwdriver. What's that around quarters? 45 minutes. You need a vignette these days. You certainly do. A living vignette. You need lots of interest and bits and pieces, lots of nice terrain. So you're not down the club this week, are you, Gary? I'm not. See, I've not been down for ages. April just turned into such a an all over the place month. I've literally been all over the bloody country at this point. I'm looking forward to just having a nice quiet weekend at home at some point, but it doesn't seem to be happening. I've been up and down the A1 so many times. Are you at the club on Thursday? Do you want to bring the hedge fund? There you go. There's a question for you, Gary. So I'm just using polyfiller to build up these bases on these little fellas. I've not really done a great deal with the bases on them. Just painted them in sand yellow and then ink wash and a quick dry brush, and that's about it. You know, Suffolk, pigs, food of the gods. You can eat every bit and sell the oink to the Scotch bagpipes. I'll take your word for that. Young Tim. Quarter past. If anybody's got any questions or anything they want to fire at me, chuck them in the old chat. Number one, why are you doing what you're doing? What's wrong with you? Otherwise, I'm just talking about driving, and nobody wants that. Nobody. And there we go. Go on, you've got 35 people watching that and only 28 likes. 7 you don't like it. Well, maybe you do. Or maybe you dislike it. You already disliked it. Who knows? Do you know what I'm going to do when I'm in Nottingham? I'm going to go and find Albert Ball's statue. I know it's in the centre of Nottingham somewhere. I don't think I've ever visited it. But that's on my list of things to do. Painting Macedonians at the minute. Good stuff. When did you do the mine creators? Did you mix paint with resin? Yes. You think Alex will be there? Yeah, I did. And then I realised very quickly that I should have actually just used. What I did, I did a mix of paints in the first instance. Can't remember what it was. It was like flat earth and dark military green and something else. There was like 3 of them, just to get that weird colour. But then I thought afterwards, what I should have done is just found a colour that was that colour, which I did later, hemp, and then just mix that instead of having to mix up the greens and the browns, because you really should just put the resin in thin layers, so otherwise it cracks and shrinks. So if you just put like 2 or 3 millimeter layers in at a time, you don't get that cracking. But then obviously you've got to mix up that paint every time. So that's why it was better to do the hemp colour. And I've done it for some smaller shell craters, which I just finished off the other day. They're dried now, but they're drying over at the beach just behind me. But that said, I prefer the colour in the bigger craters though, the one in the smaller ones. But I like them both, so it doesn't matter so much. Was the resin just the top layer? If so, how thick? No, I did it in all of them. I actually found later on that you could just put the clear resin over the top after all anyway. If you do a really tiny thin layer of about 1 millimeter, you can't really see the difference. Have you tried any First World War aerial variants for water tanker? We started to write one called Absolute Fokker. Richard was writing one called Water Fokker. This is a couple of years ago during lockdown, and he was using the Wings of Glory aircraft, and he set up a playtesting group. I was part of it, but it's not got any further than basically a few notes. It was, instead of hex based, he was doing it with the Wings of Glory bases, so like you'd move them, so it was a little bit like Wings of Glory but a little bit more freestyle, rather than having 3 things that you have to choose and then move. He was doing 3 cards that you have to choose and then use those through the turn. It was basically, you got different ways of using the base. But yeah, he didn't get any further with it really. I think the difficulty was using, so basically it was like say that's your aeroplane on its base, on its Wings of Glory plane, then you'd have like a Waterfokker movement template, and then you'd basically put it in front like that, and then if you wanted to move to the left or to the right, you'd move it, and you basically moved that many times. We all did random stuff. We did something similar. Yeah, because Wings of Glory, that the way that works is really elegant and it's really good. And I mean, obviously X-Wing ripped it off, but the problem with Wings of Glory is, I think it's just a little bit. I think if you took the firing dice, the firing mechanisms from Algae, and put that or even Bag the Hun actually, and superimpose that on top of it, I think it'd be much better, and the damage and stuff. Because the thing I don't like about Wings of Glory is that, Wings of War, is that you've got hit points on aircraft, and that to me just seems very silly. Because an aeroplane with 1 hit point is still flying around, but in Bag the Hun and in Algae, you've got realistic, in inverted commas, damage. So damage on the fabric doesn't do anything. We use the hexagon though, and it seemed to work okay, but means no play testing. Okay, throw it along to Richard, or chuck it into one of the Lardy magazines. And yeah, it just felt like, it just feels like you've got 12 hit points and you can keep getting hammered until you get down to 1 hit point, and you're still flying, and it doesn't really, unless you get the explosion card, it doesn't really feel like real damage. And that's why I like Bag the Hun, because you're getting damage on the aeroplane as it would be, so you're getting the engine hit and that affects the plane. Whereas in Wings of War Glory, it's whoever reduces. But yeah, thinking about it, actually, you could quite easily do it actually with Algae. I don't know if you'd do it 3 moves ahead like Wings of Glory does, or if you just choose a card at the time. I don't know. You could probably do it. Anyway, what was the other thing I was going to do? Probably start on these boys, I think, or at least get them onto some kind of base. But yeah, so Richard, he got to a point where he'd written some stuff down, and I've got some of the rules kicking about, but not a huge amount of change really. He did it. It was a card-driven activation. You did need to try both. Bag the Hun. Yeah, Bag the Hun's great. A really good game. I love it. But yeah, I've lost my train of thought. Sorry, too much driving. That's the problem. I was going to stick these onto my paint pots, my patented paint pots. That's the green I'm using for the Japanese aircraft. Apart from these, who are going to be a caramel colour. Because I realised when I painted the Bettys that I was holding the bases and stuff, and that was a bit of a problem because it was rubbing the paint off. So if I can keep me fat greasy fingers off everything while I'm painting them, I think that's going to make me happy. And it's a lot cheaper than the Games Workshop ones. Problem is I don't want to start painting these just yet. Well, I might do. Should we give them an undercoat? Wouldn't hurt, would it? And crack on. It's not hurting anyone. Probably stay out till 11 o'clock, Louis. You never know. No, I won't, because I'm going to get up some of us have got work in the morning, unfortunately. Yeah, I think the main thing about Bag the Hun is that the problem is the needing a hex map for it. I mean, I got one from where was it? Not Geek Villain, the other one, Deep Cut. I got one from Deep Cut, and it's great. I love it. So I use it for First and Second World War, but you know, it's the only thing that I use it for is Bag the Hun or Algae. So it's kind of limited in its uses, but I've got it, and that's the main thing. New kidney is cheaper than anything Games Workshop does. That is very true. But you know, everybody is entitled to spend their money how they want on their hobby. To be fair, I've made some mad purchases, but it's generally just been one-offs. What was it? That collapsed bridge, tank and bridge, because Paul had to actually do quite a lot of work on it. That cost me quite a bit. I thought, I only need one, so it doesn't matter. And there's some other stuff as well. I think I paid about €15 for a 15mm Asterix figure when I was getting some stuff together for Infamy. Because I figured, well, I only need one. It was probably more like €20 actually. And for an Obelix figure as well. But I thought, yeah, I only need one. So you can't always combine, really, can you? Have you ever played Check Your Six in the World War One? No, we were talking about Check Your Six earlier. No, I haven't played it. I've seen it, and I've seen they've got an First World War variant. I don't know if I'm not fussed about it, to be honest. I've certainly seen it though. But that tank and bridge look good. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, I don't need it, do I, anymore? I don't know if anyone watches the Arbiter Ian video channel. He did an interesting video on entry prices for GW Gaming. No, I didn't see that. Except SPQR, Alex. They join the damned if they buy that. Not a fan then. Louis says, my local game store is charging 41 quid for a box of Bolt Action. Kind of out of the cosh on it for me. Game shop, not show. I just bought the Rohan Mansion from GW because it was nice. Exactly. Look, at the end of the day, none of this stuff you have to buy it. Probably, you know, you don't have to buy any of these things at all. But we want to buy these things, you know, and that's the point of a hobby, isn't it? Apart from obviously the SPQR for Dom, unfortunately for him. But you know, it's you know, your hobby is your hobby, and wargaming is relatively cheap compared to most hobbies. You know, you could be into sailing or skiing or horse riding or anything, and if you want it, buy it. That's the bottom line. If you can afford it. Yes, because they're nice to have, and we need more. Yeah, exactly, we need more. We always need more. Right, that brush is too big for this job, and that colour is not really exact either. It's not the colour I want. I can't remember which one it is. Green ochre, perhaps. Yeah, green ochre. So you don't have to buy anything, but always more expensive when your son is into gaming and he's converted to World War One Italians. Well, that's good. Nothing is that cheap anymore. If you want to start AK-47 50mm, you're talking 150k, 150 quid up. Blimey. Whether that is bad or not is all relative. Exactly. I find GW like the local drug dealer. Star is a good deal if you want anything after that. That's where they get you. Absolutely. It's upselling, isn't it? It's basic. It's basic business maths, isn't it, really, at the end of the day? Let's be clear. It's not a cheap hobby, but then again, it's any worse than any other hobbies. Not really. how many other hobbies are you still using the bits you bought 20 years ago? That's a good, fair point. He's into cycling trials. Spent £2 on my bike. A lot less on figures. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Any hobby can be as cheap or as expensive as you want it to be. And as I say, that's why when it came to like those one-off pieces, I didn't mind so much paying a little bit more over the odds for them, because I knew they were one-offs and it's my hobby. You know, I wanted them. And they're fun. There we go, that's a bit more like it. Well, I don't know though. I'm kind of going a bit cross-eyed at the moment. I've got to a point where I'm maybe it's time to shut down and go back to Narcos. Yeah, I'm pushing beyond my limits at this point. About an hour's painting is enough for me. An hour and talking, painting and talking anyway. Let's just get some of these last ones in. I would buy the tank bridge if it became commercially available. Talk to Paul. Just talk to him over at Sabotage. I think it is. It's just ask him about it. I think he asked the guy who sculpted it if he was okay to sell it, and I'm sure he is. So I'll just go and ask him. When you spend £82 at Peter Pig for figures, you kind of think, damn, that's a lot of money until you see good figures on a base for priming. Yeah, there's a lot of them. £150. Looking for a wife for that sort of outlay. Gary, hear that? My road bike is 20 years old and that's $750 second hand. Right, guys, look, I'm going to leave it at that tonight. Like I said, I've pushed myself beyond me tired limits. So I'll sort these out probably over the weekend. I think these will just sit on the bench now for a while. I'm happy with where I've got tonight. Thank you everybody for watching, as always. It's good to have you all on board. Don't forget, hit that like button. If you don't subscribe, do subscribe. If you're already subscribed, go and tell a friend. You know, if you like what you saw, tell me about it. If you didn't, you don't. And I'll see you in the next one, probably next week, I think. I'll say good night.